I got into the business in the late 90s. I became a stockbroker, a licensed Series 7 stockbroker at a place called Prime Charter, which was the best place in the history of the world to be in the late 90s in New York.
Yeah.
It was full of scoundrels and con artists and some of the best telephone sales people that you've never heard of. They taught me everything I know. Prime Charter, we sort of lovingly call it Crime Charter, was ironically not criminal. It was
not
made up.
Not a Stratton Oakmont.
But we had people that came from Stratton Oakmont who worked at Prime Charter. So I actually were, and I don't want to say their names to out them, but I've told you that I still have the infamous, we call it the Lehman Brothers Black Book, where it has all these pitches.
You mentioned in the book.
Yeah, and it's like they go back to the 70s and stuff. And,
do you remember specific pitches?
Oh God, yes. Chrysler of asking the client to buy all 1 million shares of Chrysler, we're going to buy Chrysler and all this stuff, and just how to position yourself, and there's just crap like how to lie about it. Says, oh yes, it's sort of like I'll get you, I'm just off, I got to leave today in my Jaguar, my E-Type gunmetal gray, and it was important that you said gunmetal gray because people thought, oh, that really meant you're a serious guy. And Bear, I remember managing director says, you're here to resell Bear Stearns research, and I was like, I'd never heard that before.
Yeah.
But really, that's the basis of all stock brokering. You're there to sell the firm's research. But at my other place, we didn't have really our own research. It was like, well, just find if there's a buy, if somebody on the street has a buy rec, then you can recommend it. Right. So it's basically saying, just do your own research, but don't buy anything unless there's at least one analyst who has a buy. Well, it's the 90s. There's no sells on anything. So it's so basically any stock I want. You're providing sucker bets. It's like a craps table. Everybody who plays craps knows it's the best odds. It's the back bet on a 6 or 8. Right. Come on. It's just math. But then it's well, then why do they have hard 8? It's well, it's craps because people can't do that. The hard 8 bet, just so you know, the hard 8 means that you want to get 2 4s, right? Yeah. And if you get any other type of 8, you lose your money immediately. And if you get a 7, you lose your money immediately. So, and the payout is not that good, right? But it feels good when you hit it. Yeah. And that's what's happening in Wall Street. It's a craps table where your standard good bets are known by people like me for years. The odds get better and better and better. The cost, the innovation, the tech gets better and better and better. But then we're not getting rid of the dumb bets.
Right.
And that's okay as long as you understand that as a consumer. I was talking to a client buddy of mine who's a journalist and a great writer. And he was doing a story on thematic ETFs, and he was showing me some ETF, and it was like a breakfast ETF. And I was like, what? And I looked at it, and it was just commodities. Some ETF provider paid an index fund because they're all just whores for the money. It's true.
Right.
And they're like, oh, pay us thousands and thousands of dollars, and we'll create the XYZ breakfast commodity index. And it's basically just like soft commodities, like orange juice. It's just soft. It's soft commodities, which I think that the ticker to cut, I think it's like DBA or something. I'm sure there's somebody who says it's not DBA, it's DBC. But we already have a commodity index that you can buy an ETF. Right. But it just takes out cotton and soybeans or something, and then it's everything else. It's we needed a separate ETF for that. It's well, this is a breakfast. Breakfast is never going to go out of style. And Americans love breakfast. It's are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I wanted to write a modern version of The Money Game, which is saying I want to write a modern version of a Shakespearean play. I mean, it's well, good luck to you. You just it's if you can be 10% as inspiring, it will be an achievement of a lifetime. And so I think that that's the most critical book. I think you have to read, and because first of all, if somebody says what book professionally, what book represents you, your sensibility, who you are as a market operator, it's The Money Game, period. Front to back, read it backwards every single day. The other thing I wanted to kind of convey to people through my stories in the narrative was that you're not going to get anywhere in your career unless you screw up, and it's preferable to screw up when you are younger.
Yeah.
Do you want some goody two-shoe that's never screwed up, who's 50? Because it's now you want to happen? Now you want them to learn a life lesson? And it always boggles my mind when you read about people who really fall from grace on Wall Street, who are in their 50s and are very successful. It's like, take it from me, screw up when you're 25, like you'll get over it, like very quickly. I'm 47. I forget about it. Sometimes I forget that I was like, like you wake up the next day after that and your mugshot's on page 6 in the New York Post. And you're like, well, I always wanted to be on page 6. And then you realize,
hey, you don't make it. A lot of people,
yeah. A lot of people say you haven't made it in New York till you're in the New York Post on page 6. The problem is that the vast majority of time you're on page 6 is not flattering